Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you are a subscriber. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit that button and hit that bell down below and make sure you get subscribed so that you can join us on this channel and live your best life in 2020. So today, we are actually not going to be only talking about budgeting. We're going to be talking about how to get into your post-grad groove, which is something I've just adjusted to in the past 3 months. I graduated from college in December, and I just know that it was really hard for me to kind of figure out how to live out of a collegiate setting after being there for 4 years and being in the public education system all of your life before then. So if this is something you want to learn a bit more about, please continue watching and we're going to get right into it. I first just want to start out by talking specifically to my spring 2020 grads because I know this is a super weird time for all of us. I graduated in December, but I am supposed to be walking graduation in May, and with coronavirus right now in the US, everything is kind of a bit crazy, and I know a lot of y'all are leaving campus earlier than you expected to and leaving your friends and just kind of losing that last bit of your college experience. So I just wanted to say that I feel you, it's a rough time, and please make sure you're taking time to take care of yourself and your well-being during this period. Alrighty, so the first category of life we are going to talk about is mental health. So mental well-being post-graduation, because honestly I think this is the hardest and most overlooked aspect of your life that you need to make sure you're putting conscious efforts towards once you graduate. I know that as somebody who struggles with anxiety, being in a period of so many what ifs, like what if I don't get a job? When am I going to get a job? What if I don't have enough money to pay for rent? What if I have nowhere to live? Like the what if can spiral so quickly in this period of life. And if you ever want me to make more content about anxiety and anxiety management, go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. I would love to share some tips on that with y'all. But that is definitely something that I know a lot of people experience post-graduation because it is such a weird, flexible time in your life. Being in this period post-grad is also a time when a lot of people can fall into depression because it can seem so difficult to get to that next step, to get a job or to move or do whatever your plans are right after graduation. It can seem so far away and so intangible that it's really easy to fall into depression as well. And so some ideas and some ways that I coped with these feelings throughout my job search process and just post-graduation in general is I continued going to my therapist. I had already been going to therapy. If you have never gone to therapy before, I highly recommend you do that. Even if you are not feeling anxiety or depression or any type of mental health concern at the moment, going to therapy is something that works well for everyone. Everyone needs to cope with something at some point in their life, and it's really great to just learn those tools before you're necessarily in a bad place. My second tip in terms of coping with your mental health post-graduation are to continue to make plans with your friends and family, or start if you haven't been able to post-graduation. I know this is not a period in your life where you necessarily have a lot of free money to make plans and go to eat or go to the movies and that kind of thing, but find things you can do for free, even if that means just going for a walk through a local park together. Get outside and make plans so that you can continue to enjoy the people in your life. And this is probably the first time in the past 4 years you've had quality time to hang out with people when you're not busy juggling all the different hats that come with college. So make sure you do take advantage of this time and enjoy and really live in the moment. Tip number 3 is getting yourself on a good schedule. We are going to talk about scheduling a little later on in the video, so I'm not going to go in depth right here, but if you at least put a schedule to your days, it's really going to help you feel like you still have things going on and you still know what you're going to be doing during set periods of time, which can definitely help with anxiety specifically because there isn't just so much free time that you don't know what to do. And my last tip in terms of supporting your mental health is to reach out to folks in your community that you are close with for support. Whether it's support in your job search or support with your mental health or support with socializing, reach out to them because your friends, your family, your coworkers, or your past employers or your professional connections or other alumni from your university are going to be there for you, and they're going to have felt these similar feelings that you're feeling. So definitely always feel free to reach out to people that are in your life because they want to be in your life, and that is one of the reasons they are there. So the next category we're going to move into is scheduling. So as somebody who loves to plan and is a planner, being on a schedule is something that is very important to me. My anxiety specifically really hates lots of free time. I am that person who, when Christmas break hits, I would literally just start having panic attacks again out of the blue because I had no schedule. I had no classes, I had no work, I had no meetings already set up. It was just a blank slate of time, and I just constantly felt like I wasn't productive. And so something I've really found that works for me is using a block schedule method. However long you want to set your blocks to for each category allows you to kind of have some flexibility. So especially if you're in the job search, you don't necessarily know when you're going to get calls or when you need to go for interviews and that kind of thing. But if I say that I'm going to wake up by 8 a.m. and I'm going to block my time out from 8 a.m. till 7 p.m. at night, and then I might say 8 to 9 is waking up and getting ready for the day. And then 9 to 12 is answering emails and setting out new applications. And then maybe from 12 to 4 is when I'll take calls or go to in-person interviews. So just kind of giving yourself a schedule so that you know where your brain should be and what headspace you should be in is really, really helpful for this time in your life. And also a note on scheduling, make sure you're scheduling in things that you love doing and that are good for your body. If you're somebody who goes to the gym or enjoys exercising frequently, make sure you're putting that into your schedule. Give yourself time during the day that is set aside for that so that you are still continuing to take care of your body and continuing to fuel that energy and that need that you have, because that's going to help you feel a lot better in this time. The next topic we're going to talk about is money, because that is probably the number one question people have when they come out of college, or the number one concern that they have, which is how am I going to make money? Unless you already have a job lined up before you graduate, which if you do, good for you, but we're not talking about you. We're talking about most of the people who graduate and are coming into this oversaturated job market and are not able to get a job for sometimes even months post-graduation. So what do you do for money in this period of time? Some tips I have. My first tip is actually to try and find as many part-time gig type of jobs that you can. And I don't mean part-time jobs as in like part-time sales associate type of jobs. I mean part-time flexible schedule jobs. So things like driving for Lyft or Uber, or doing Uber Eats or Postmates. There's also some other ones like WAG. You can do dog walking, especially if you live in a city. That's a great option. I actually used Urban Sitter for quite a bit while I was in this process because I've worked with preschool kids before, and babysitting is something that comes naturally to me. So you can go ahead and see if that's available in your area. But it just allows you to choose exactly when you want to work. So that way you're not stuck with a work schedule and that you're trying to work around, again, for job interviews and that type of thing. So that way you can pick up jobs when you are free. And of course, as this is mainly a budgeting channel, I of course could not go without mentioning budgeting when talking about being conscious of your money in post-grad life. So setting a budget and sticking to it at this point in your life is crucial for you to be able to build budgeting habits and skills so that when you actually do get that full-time job post-graduation, it's going to be so much easier for you to fall into the routine of budgeting and keeping to that new budget that you're going to be able to reset once you start getting a higher income. It is so important to just try and get into a habit of living below your means, especially in this time in your life, because you are never going to be certain about when that job is going to come until it does. So for me, I graduated December 15th. I started applying for jobs in November, and I actually landed a job about a couple weeks ago, so at the beginning of March. So it really literally took that long of a span for me to get a job. So make sure that you really are budgeting and keeping some money aside as early as you can. Even maybe at the beginning of your senior year, you start saving money so that you are going to feel a lot more secure and have that less of a stressor while you're in your job search, because the job search itself is already stressful enough, which we're going to talk about next. Alright y'all, so getting a job. First of all, try your best not to stress, because it does take a lot of time. And I'm not just saying this for me, I'm saying this for most of my peers and most of the people I've spoken to. It takes a lot longer to get a job than you are going to think it is. One of the best things that I can tell you going into your job search process is do not settle. Don't take the first job that gives you an offer if you aren't actually in love with it and don't think you're going to do well there and don't think you're going to learn a lot from them. Because at the end of the day, you are a valuable candidate. Just because you are fresh out of college and you are going into these entry-level positions does not mean that you are at a point where you need to settle and you need to take whoever wants you first. Make sure it is going to be a mutual agreement and that both parties, the job and you, are going to be happy. In terms of looking for a job, I recommend utilizing as many avenues as you can. So I was looking for work in the nonprofit sphere, so I was using Idealist a lot because that is a really, really big source of job postings in the nonprofit world. So look for those more niche sites, because LinkedIn is great, but it can be super saturated with jobs. And so if you go to some of these smaller sites like Idealist, or even using sites through your school, like Emerson uses Handshake, and that's where I went to college. So making sure that you're utilizing all these different avenues are going to really help you out. Don't be afraid to reach out to connections that you have made through internships or organizations or even through college, because if these are people that you are close with and you reach out to them saying like, hey, have you heard of any work in XYZ realm, they are going to remember you. So even if they don't know anything at that moment, if something does stumble across their world, they could say like, oh, I remember Rachel asked me about this, let me see if she's still looking for work. So it's definitely always worth it to keep up with your connections, because you never know when something's going to roll around. And the biggest tip I can say to you, especially applying for entry-level positions, is we are at a time when lots of employers want to post entry-level positions with ridiculous requirements for the salary that they are offering. So if you do not match all of the qualifications for a job, but it is a job you want to do and you know you would be good at, and you match at least some of the qualifications, still put in your application, because at the end of the day, they're going to realize what market they are in, and there's still a very good chance that you could get an interview. So don't ever let the qualifications completely dictate whether or not you should apply for the job. And the last topic we're going to talk about is socializing, because I think this is something else that a lot of people don't think about necessarily when they're going to graduate. But if you are somebody who built up a lot of friends in college, and you went to a college, especially a private college, where there's a lot of students coming from all over the world, and everyone's going to kind of dissipate to wherever they're going post-grad, you might end up kind of in the city by yourself, not really surrounded by all the friends you've been with for the past 4 years. And that can feel really isolating. So make sure you are taking time to stay in contact with the friends that you've made in college and that you want to stay in contact with. Make sure you're texting them. Make sure you're setting times to have FaceTime calls with each other. Make sure you're setting times to potentially meet up again, book flights. Make sure you're staying in contact with these people, because if you want to stay friends with them, it's going to take a conscious effort on both of y'all's ends to do that if you're not necessarily as close to each other as you were living in the same dorm building during college. And another note on hanging out, as we get older, we all understand that we're having more and more responsibilities, whether that's a full-time job, kids, cars, paying for bills, all these types of things are going to take up more of your time. And so if you're not able to see your friends as often as you did before, that might feel kind of strange. But overall, if you still care about each other, you should be able to keep picking up where you left off, and make sure that you're just staying in contact as much as you can. And my very last tip for socializing is make cost-effective plans. You all don't always have to go out to a restaurant or go to the mall or do these things that are going to cost you a lot of money just to hang out. You can come over and cook a dinner together. You can decide you want to make a certain pastry and buy the ingredients at the groceries together and make it in one of your homes. You don't have to go out and about and spend a ton of money just to see friends. It can honestly be a lot more special when you hang out at home and create these memories together. So don't knock it until you try it. Thank you so much for staying till the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you find these tips helpful for you or for somebody in your life that you're able to send this video to. If you did enjoy this video and found it helpful, please give it a like. I would really appreciate your support. And leave me a comment down below about something that you had some trouble adjusting with to college or still have questions about as you're about to leave college. And we can help each other out and continue this thread in the comment section down below. And again, if you are not already subscribed to this channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below and turning on that bell so you don't miss any of the fabulous content off of this channel. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you again very, very soon. Have a great rest of your day. Bye!